today we have on Dawn Norby. She is a wife of 32 years, a mom of two awesome young men. She's a survivor, a baker, and a businesswoman, and she loves to laugh. Yes, she does. So Dawn started Budding Botanicals in 2012, and she's going to tell us more about that. So she loves all things natural, and she and her family are running this business. And she loves to talk to her customers about her product, which I'm going to have her share more about in a little bit. But first, welcome, Dawn.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Shelley.
You're welcome. So good to have you. So tell us a little bit about, okay, so Budding Botanicals. So where did that come from? Why did that start? Take us back.
Try to make a long story short. In 2006, our son started bruising. We didn't know what happened. So we found out through some blood tests that he developed something called idiopathic aplastic anemia. And his happened to be where his platelets stopped performing. They stopped working. They didn't know how. It just happens on some people, don't know why. They gave him a few treatments and things, and he was put into remission. And then in 2011, he developed a secondary disorder that is very long, and I don't know how to say it, but it's called PNH. And the only cure for aplastic anemia and PNH is a bone marrow transplant. So we immediately got him on the bone marrow donor registry list, and they found 12 perfect matches for him, which is completely unheard of.
Yeah.
Most people are lucky if they can find one. And they narrowed that down to 3. And they took one of them out because it was a female. They figured we'll just do a male. Mm-hmm. And then they had left down to 2. And one said, you know, I'd rather just give whole blood instead of platelets. And the remainder, the gentleman that said yes, whatever you need, gave us his bone marrow. And he was a perfect match.
Wow.
And they ended up doing the bone marrow transplant in August of 2011. And then in March of 2012, he was deemed cured.
That's awesome.
Blew our mind.
Yeah.
2 weeks after he was deemed cured, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And they said it was related to stress. And I said, I have no stress. Everything's good. And they go, well, it lies dormant until your body can get over stress and relax.
Right.
During Trevor's transplant, he had a lot of pain and problems with not feeling well and wanted to do something that was more natural. He did not want to be on any painkillers that might affect him or get him hooked on painkillers, being ready to start high school the following fall.
So was he like 14 or how old was he when found out?
Yes, 14.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 8 when he was diagnosed.
Oh, okay.
And then the summer of his 8th grade year, he had the bone marrow transplant. And we asked the doctors, you know, what can we do? He doesn't want pharmaceutical medications. Mm-hmm. They said, we don't care, whatever you do, make it all organic and all natural. Well, before his bone marrow transplant, Make-A-Wish came to him and granted him any wish he wanted. Well, his first wish was declined. His second wish was, fine, let's go to Scotland. I want to play at the old course in Scotland.
Wow.
And 2 weeks after he said that, we were all 4 on a plane to Scotland for 10 days, all expenses paid. And he got to play 5 incredible golf courses over there.
Wow.
And he was treated better than royalty over there. It was amazing. And him being able to spend that time with his dad during his treatment at the hospital, they could go over and get his mind on every golf shot he hit on every golf course. And it helped take his pain, the thought of his pain, away. And after seeing that and hearing that, I knew I wanted to get involved in Make-A-Wish San Diego and pay it forward. So my first Make-A-Wish kiddo was diagnosed with leukemia, and he was experiencing the debilitating joint pain that I went through with my chemotherapy. Mm-hmm. And we got together and talked, and I says, I don't want to do THC. She goes, I don't want it either. So we were looking into CBD. And I said, if I do this, it's going to be all organic and all natural, which was perfect for her lifestyle because that's what they were doing as well.
Okay.
So I developed a salve and took it over to him the next day. And that afternoon, he was finally able to play with his brother, which he hadn't been able to do since he started chemotherapy. And that's when my husband said, I think we got something here. And my passion is to help any and all children that are going through any kind of treatments, that they're in a lot of pain, people with arthritis, anybody that has any joint pain. We do it a lot with athletes. We talk to them, find out the severity of their pain, how deep it is, where it's at, things like that. And we help them find something that will hopefully alleviate that pain naturally without taking pharmaceutical medications.
That's amazing, Dawn. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So will you explain CBD a little bit to the listeners?
The cannabis plant has both THC and CBD. THC is the psychoactive property that gets people high. CBD is another part of the cannabis plant that is separated from it, and it is the healing property. So you can get those, and you can get it where you can get cannabis CBD, but it will still have a trace of THC in it because you cannot remove it completely. We, however, use our CBD from the hemp plant. The hemp plant that grows and matures every 4 months. It can regenerate every 4 months, is great for the environment. It cleans the soil that it's growing in and takes all toxins out and kills all toxins in the soil. But it's a pure CBD, CBG, and CBN product. And those are all completely different things. But we end up getting straight CBD in an isolate form. So there is 0% THC. So if you are in the military, if you have a government job, if you have a job that drug tests you, our products will not show up in any of your tests because there is no THC to show that you are taking any drugs. It is 100% pure. It is basically exactly what your body makes. Our bodies produce CBD all by itself. We just do not produce enough to have a medicinal effect. So the difference that we use is it's from hemp, so there's no THC. The other CBD can be what's called a full spectrum, which has a little more amount of THC in it, but that comes from the cannabis plant, not the hemp plant.
Okay. Now, do you grow your own, or how do you
We
control
did. We now work with growers that do it organically. They process with a water process. And so there's no chemicals added at any point in our CBD, not to the ground, not to the plant, and it's no chemicals are added when it's being processed from the plant to turn it into an isolate form. And when I say isolate, you're going to look at it and it looks like white powder, almost like powdered sugar. And it dissolves in liquid and it has no flavor and no odor. So there's no taste. Unlike a THC product or CBD full spectrum, it will have that grassy flavor. We have a product that has absolutely no flavor.
Okay. And should you eat that lotion?
Do not eat it. I don't recommend it. Smells good enough to eat, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah, it does. I've smelled it and I've wanted to eat it. So yeah, it smells so good.
Thank you.
That is amazing. So I love, how this came to be, your company. So how was it? Let's go back a little bit with your son. And then, like the doctor said, your body had been in remission almost from getting that cancer because it just wasn't being able to rest. And now it was coming out because it was taking over. Yeah. So how was that for you? I mean, you're caring for your son for all these years, and then now you're having to deal with this cancer yourself.
I felt it. It was on my husband's birthday. I was in the shower and did my self-test, and it's like, okay, so this is what we got now. Okay, I got it. And I never looked at it as a death sentence. I never looked at it as something bad. I looked at it as, okay, this is my next challenge. Let's get it done. Let's go through with it. Let's be done with it and get this out of my body. I never at any point before receiving chemotherapy realized how painful it would be getting all of those chemicals from the chemotherapy in your body. Nobody ever told me that. They go, yeah, you'll lose your hair and you'll be tired, but they never explained how painful your joints are from chemotherapy.
Wow.
And what is still hard to explain to this day, and I had a real hard time understanding it when Trevor went through it, my son, is his hair hurt. And it was like, how does your hair hurt? Your hair comes out, it's dead. Right. I don't get it. But when my hair started to fall out, it felt like somebody was pulling it out and it hurt.
Wow.
And it helped alleviate that as well. So it really helped. I mean, I got to a point where I couldn't walk up my stairs. My joints hurt so bad.
Wow.
So I did a CBD THC salve.
That's right.
Not really knowing all of the data that the THC wasn't helping me at all. It was the CBD that was helping me.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. A lot of people, it's more of a placebo effect, but there's a lot of people out there that believe the THC is what helps them.
It's not. Huh?
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah. And they say they will smoke THC or take THC edibles for anxiety. And it's funny because THC is known to cause more anxiety.
So how has this been? Like you said, I mean, your perspective is amazing. This is the next challenge, you're just like, how am I going to overcome this challenge? So how are you in that mindset? Is that just natural for you, or have you done things to help you just take that on? Or
I think it really happened when Trevor got sick and everybody says, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? It's like, you take it day by day, you stay positive. And both my husband and I never were in the same mindset that it wasn't going to be okay with Trevor. I would have a day where, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's going on? How is this going to happen? My husband says, he's got it. Everything's fine. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess you're right. And then the next day, my husband would be a mess. Oh my gosh, how's Trevor going to be? What are we going to do? I go, honey, he's got this. No worries. And I think the most challenging part of it all was when Trevor was in his bed and he looked up at me and he goes, Mom, am I going to die?
Wow.
And I said, yes, honey, you are. But this is not what's going to kill you. He goes, okay, let's do it. I mean, yeah, we're all going to die. But you've got to have the mind frame of what's going to kill me. I'm not going to let this be the thing that takes me out. So awesome. He never got in that mind frame that woe is me. It's like, okay, what do we need to do? Let's do it.
That's incredible. And I bet that helped with the healing process as well.
Absolutely. We were fortunate enough that Trevor's bone marrow donor, non-related, was such a viable, great match for him that Trevor was able to go home from the hospital with a non-related donor transplant in 45 days. In fact, he even bet our nurse $1 that he would be out in 45 days. And that's the minimum that you have to be in after a bone marrow transplant. And the morning of his 45th day, she had a baggie taped to the door with $1 in it saying, you won. So awesome. he entered this not feeling sick, and he left it never feeling sick. He did develop mono 2 weeks after we were discharged from the hospital, and completely unrelated, and we don't know how he got it or why. But we were back in the hospital for 3 days, and then home.
And I bet that helped with your healing, just the positive attitude, because you're in that higher vibe. Your body is in a higher vibe. It's
yes.
So
yeah. And it helped him having his little brother around. He missed his little brother. As much as they were like oil and water, they really did miss each other. There was a 2-week period where nobody was allowed to come and see him. I was the only one allowed in the room because I was washed down and decontaminated and everything, and I couldn't leave the room.
Oh, wow.
So everything was done by Zoom. Thankfully, we had computers then and we could do Zoom and he could see everybody. He was actually on Zoom with our entire family during the bone marrow transplant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's an IV. They take the bone marrow, it's in an IV bag, they stick it in his arm. And we're like, well, how does the bone marrow go from a vein into his bones? And the doctor said, the only way I can explain it is God makes it happen.
Wow. That's amazing.
It is, because it's just this bone marrow going into a vein and it figures out how to go into your bones and become new bone marrow.
That's incredible. So have you met the donor?
We have not. That's on our bucket list. We are
Okay.
in contact with him. We are friends on Facebook. And he makes jokes all the time that, you know, he's got his little German twin out here in the US. Yeah, it was a 43-year-old gentleman. So it was 8 years ago. He's 51 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to be a perfect match. That's awesome.
Perfect match. Out to the 140th decimal, they're blood matched.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. And Drew, our younger son, was a 0% match.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
God's in charge, right? He knows what
He is. He is. It's pretty awesome. And being able to do this, we now work with the doctors at Children's Hospital in San Diego, as well as Children's Hospital in Orange County, and a couple others that refer patients to us, parents of patients to us, that look for alternative forms of pain relief.
Wow, what an amazing opportunity. I mean, that's great that you're in those hospitals, because a lot of times they don't have that hope like you guys have. I mean, they don't know where to turn, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And now you're able to help them, at least with overcoming that pain part of it. Give them hope.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I have one pity day where I was just going, why is my son in so much pain? What's going on? I'm walking. I was angry, walking the halls. And then this mom walks by with this tiny little pumpkin in her arms, probably not even 8 or 9 months old, that had stitches from this ear all the way over to this ear and had a brain tumor. And that was all I needed. It's like, okay, thank you for putting me back into perspective here. Things aren't that bad. There's always somebody worse. We have what is called an educational website with our products, because we like to be able to educate people. Kind of like you, when we first started talking, you didn't know the difference between CBD and THC. A lot of people don't. We like to educate them. CBD won't work for everybody, but our website is www.buddingbotanicalsusa.com. And that'll take you to the website, and it's got all of our information. It also has a survey, or a questionnaire, I should say, that you can fill out. If you've got pain, where it's at, what is your pain tolerance, things like that. And we can help you and describe or prescribe something that might help you get some relief. Now, CBD is not a cure-all. Definitely isn't. It's definitely something to help you manage your pain and be able to go on with your life without constantly having to take more medications. CBD is great for not only arthritis, joint pain, back pain, any kind of pain you have in your body. It's also good. It cured my neuropathy and my son's neuropathy as a side effect from chemo, where we lost the feeling in our fingers and our toes. Wow. It's back now, so that helped. It's great for ADD, ADHD, anxiety. It's phenomenal for anxiety. So it's daily and weekly, we're learning more and more about the CBD and hemp plant of things that it can do. And it continues to baffle us that this tiny little plant can do so much good without side effects.
Yeah. God is good.
He is.
That plant.
He's awesome. I mean, when he developed that one, he knew what he was doing. I mean, it can make flooring, clothing, paper, clean your soil out to get rid of any toxins that somebody may have used on that land prior to you moving there. It is an incredible plant.
Yeah, I want to plant it. I'm hoping it grows well where I live. So to clean out some soil. That'd be awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, this has been incredible to talk to you about this. And you're an amazing example of just overcoming and having that positivity and to overcome your trials. And I think for me, it feels like because you have that trust in God, right? That
yeah, absolutely.
That's so
he helped
beautiful.
get us through this step by step every day.
Yeah.
And he's still there. He's still there. He still guides us. He guides me. He's my business partner. He guides me through what needs to be done. And then when I need a little swift kick in the rear end, that's what you're here for.
Yeah.
But we're constantly trying to grow the business. We're adding new products all the time. Yeah, we've got everything from tinctures that go under your tongue for internal inflammation and anxiety, depression, all of that, to salves that are topical. We've got CBD collagen infused face creams. We've got a mosquito and CBD repellent lotion that you can testify for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've used that and it's amazing stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We have lotions, we have capsules, and we are coming out with a line of hair care, shampoo and conditioner that will help strengthen your hair, have it grow more, be stronger and healthier.
That's exciting.
So we're just keep chugging along. And basically my thing is, if there's somebody in pain out there, they shouldn't be on pharmaceutical medications. It just does too much damage to your internal organs. There's so much more out there than pharmaceutical medications.
Well, I know you have a gift for the audience or a discount. So 20% off using the code
Yes.
Live Greater.
You bet.
And I will have all this and her website, everything in the show notes. So you can go ahead and hook up with Dawn and learn what might be best for you. Like she said, yeah, I've used her lotion and her repellent. It's amazing to me, the stuff.
Thank you.
And it smells good, but don't eat the lotion, even though it smells so
Don't eat, doesn't taste good, but it smells really good.
Well, thank you, Dawn. This has been incredible. I appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Shelley.